Come on, do Nazi stuff.
Yeah, why won't he do the Nazi stuff?
Lookoutfa Charlie.
My video on simulation theory got a copyright strike on it after YouTube checked it and said it was cool. Then it went up, and it was at like 7:30 in the morning or something. Very strange time to have this copyright strike hit. That's like lunchtime in other places, you know. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this a little bit and just go over the fact that some people reacted quite similar to the way that people have reacted in the past when I've talked about the paranormal or UFOs or cryptids. It seemed to really clash with their belief system. I'm going to explain this again, and I've explained this too many times now. And at some point I'm going to have to stop doing this. But in my older videos where I debunk this paranormal shit, I believe that the paranormal exists. But it's far different than people want to believe it is. It has nothing to do with some entity having nothing better to do than repeat words to somebody or hang around some house and break shit. Same thing with UFOs. Just like the cryptid stuff. People believe there are cryptids, and you know what? There very well could be cryptids. But the stuff that I have analyzed is man-made. It is not cryptids. The voices that I have analyzed are not ghosts. They are pulsed communications. They are frequencies. They are man-made. I'm not saying that the paranormal or cryptids don't exist or UFOs don't exist. But the stuff that I have analyzed has all been man-made. Now, I've said this before, I wish that I would have kept track years ago when I started analyzing and doing these cases, because it's been many. Out of all these cases that I've done, there was one guy who wanted to know what something was and had sent me sound. It did not have the hallmarks of all the other cases that I have looked at, and it was kind of like a WTF moment. And I basically sent him messages saying, look, dude, I don't know what this is. I'm not sure what this sound is. It's not what I hear normally. It's interesting, but I'm not sure what it is. Out of all those cases, over 1,000, we'll put it that way, over 1,000, that puts the likelihood of it being paranormal or something at 0.01%. So, simulation theory. You know, you have these people, scientists, that claim that they know everything about the human brain at this point, basically. It's very funny because they don't know fundamentals, like where does the brain get its power from? And they might chirp back from the body. Well, where does the body get its electrical energy from? They don't understand the fundamentals of the brain. So sure, there is probably some mathematical equation to life itself, sure. But it's nothing that you are going to fully understand. Imagine a Commodore 64 analyzing a supercomputer. It isn't going to understand it. Even if it figures out a few things, it doesn't understand the fundamentals. And that Commodore 64 is the human brain in this metaphor. There are going to be things that the human brain just cannot figure out. And that's what I'm saying. Sure, there is probably some sort of crazy mathematical equation to all this that we're experiencing. It's not this. This is an overlay. This is what they are going to say is the Matrix. They're garbage. Man-made garbage. They're going to extreme extents to hide this all the time. For decades, people have said these persistent contrails were not there when I was a kid. You can go back through 80s magazines and not see them. You can go back through photos and not see them. And then it got to the point where they started putting them in older movies, like digitally putting them in and saying, see, it's there. But they can't do that to your personal photographs. They can't do that to every magazine. They can when everything becomes digitized, and that's the scary thing. But there are people who remember when these weren't covering the skies every day. And they still fight people on that. Your memory's whack. I don't know how you can't remember this. It's just absurd. But this is the extent that they are willing to go to not let people in on what is going on. And why? Because if they are doing it, the next question is going to be, why are you doing it? And the things that they've found in these alone are mind-blowing. Why do kids that go to school, K through 12, and then on to college, learn nothing about electromagnetic energy? Nothing. They learn nothing about this stuff, and they won't learn anything about it because they want you as ignorant as possible to the implication and the power of electromagnetic energy and ELF electromagnetic energy, because our bodies operate off it. All of human life operates off it. And I can give you a really, really good example of this. A few years ago, I was talking to this guy who also tunes cars, or was getting into it, and he was trying to tune his idle. He was trying to get the air-fuel ratio correct in the idle area of his RPM range in his car. And he was having a problem. He kept telling me that he was getting these weird pulses, and it was jacking up what was coming back through the data logging cable. And I asked him if his where he was when he was doing this, and he was in a garage that was connected to a house that had power all around him. And I explained to him that, you know, dude, since these smart meters went in, there's a lot of dirty electricity, and what you might want to do is get that car, hook it back up stock just temporarily, get that car away from the house, get it away from the power, go out in a field somewhere or out in a parking lot somewhere and try it again. Just get away from that and see if this interference is still messing with your car or with your tune. And he literally responded to me, LOL, you're crazy. He was half joking, but that sounded so outlandish to him that he couldn't understand basic issues with the power grid and dirty electricity. And to me, that was crazy. This is somebody who has been through school, probably been through college, and has no idea what is going on around him all the time, because for the most part, it's invisible. Okay, so back to ELF and the Schumann resonance. The whales need it to guide them. It's like the God magnet. And you have these whales just beaching themselves because it's confusing. It's like taking somebody's built-in compass and just tweaking it and sending them on a death ride. You know, and this is happening all the time. Has nothing to do with you and your picnic or driving your car or your campfire or whatever. Has everything to do with what they are doing. And when I say they, quote unquote they, whenever I say that, I mean anyone involved with any arm of this octopus known as full spectrum dominance. It's exactly who I'm talking about. Anyone involved with full spectrum dominance is involved with this, because whether they realize it or not, it becomes part of it. Full spectrum dominance equals the Matrix. It equals Skynet. It equals simulation theory or simulation argument. It all comes down to the same thing. And this is why I have such a problem with the whole DMT thing. And I'm very wary of the entire DMT experience, because when the human brain hits deep sleep or even just falling into sleep, things happen now that didn't before. People hear sounds or voices or banging or screeching sounds or, you know, a myriad of different things, flashing lights, all these different things. I'm going to tell you a story. I was really young at this time, but this was 1990, 1991. And what started to happen was, as soon as I fell asleep, I began to experience intense dreams, like immediately upon falling asleep. It could be less than 5 minutes, just falling into sleep, which is really premature REM. And I would have these intense dreams with people in them. And this has continued to this day. So in the early 90s, my sleep changed, and I was talking to people about it, and there were people around me that noticed it as well, who began to have these really intense dreams in the very beginning of their sleep cycle, like immediately. There's something up with that. That never happened before. Not in my life, not in anybody's life that I had talked to about it. So something's up. DMT is created by the brain, by the body. There could very well be a signal out there, and when the brain is being flooded by DMT, when somebody takes it intentionally, they have these experiences. And I've been very, very weary about that. And the whole sleeping ELF DMT thing could just be another layer of this bamboozle. And people need to understand that. The possibility. And they can put out these signals. They can understand parts of this. these people that are involved in full spectrum dominance. However, that does not mean that they understand the fundamentals to it, because they don't. I mean, long before Joe Rogan and people were discussing this online, I remember hearing, Terence McKenna talk about this decades ago. And I was really suspect of it because we're dealing in ELF, right? And he's talking about elves. This is the same chemical that is released in our sleep, and we're talking about elves. ELF, elf. And I just thought that was really, really weird. I was very suspect of it immediately. And it wasn't necessarily McKenna that I was suspect of. I was suspect of the experience. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. So yes, there could be some elaborate simulation code to everything, right? That we could never understand, because that's just it. We could never understand it. And certainly Neil deGrasse Tyson isn't going to understand it. And this ain't it. What you're seeing is an overlay, and they're going to point to this as time goes on. And they've alluded to this. CERN is seeing ghosts. What they are talking about is a bamboozle. Flat out. That's it for now. Look out for Charlie. They're just frequencies, dude. Man-made frequencies. That's it.
No! No, 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 no! No! Not this fucking time! No fucking way! No fucking way! No fucking way! No fucking way!
Son of a bitch, I want him dead.